The medical bay of the Galactic Coalition warship Eternal Sentinel hummed with the soft blue glow of xenobiological monitors. In the center of the sterile chamber, beneath a translucent stasis field, lay Nara Quinn, a human girl no older than 17 standard cycles, her small frame wrapped in regenerative bandages that pulsed with healing light. Dr. Zelthar, the ship's chief medical officer and a member of the insectoid Cathrix species, observed his patient with mounting concern. 3 days had passed since the human had been recovered from the wreckage of a cargo vessel destroyed in a pirate ambush. 3 days since she had arrived more dead than alive, her body broken in ways that would have killed any other species twice over. Yet she still breathed. Impossible. Zelthar clicked, his mandibles trembling. Her internal organs were ruptured. Both lungs collapsed. Severe cranial trauma. By all medical logic, she should have expired within minutes. His assistant, a young Valorian nurse named Tesh, adjusted the readouts. The humans call it stubbornness. Doctor, I've read the reports. They simply refuse to die when logic says they should. Before Zelthar could respond, the ICU doors hissed open. 2 figures padded into the room, small, no higher than the doctor's thorax, but moving with a predatory grace that made every instinct in his ancient genetic code scream danger. Vrick and Solka, the twin cubs of war matriarch Kesran, leader of the Velrock warrior clans. The Velrock were apex predators from a death world where survival meant perfecting the art of violence. Even their young were rated as Class 5 combat threats by Coalition standards. These 2 particular cubs had earned a reputation that preceded them, having killed a squad of Krellian mercenaries who had attempted to kidnap them 6 months prior. They were 7 years old. "You should not be here," Zelthar stated, trying to keep his voice steady. "This is a restricted medical." Vrick, the male cub with silver-striped fur and eyes like molten gold, bared his teeth in what might have been a smile. "Our mother commands this vessel." "Doctor, nowhere is restricted to us." Solka, her sister, was already at Nara's bedside. Her claws, retracted but visible, traced the edge of the stasis field. "The human saved us," she said softly, her voice carrying a rumbling purr that belied her young age. "When the pirates boarded, when they came for us, she stood between." Zelthar's antennae twitched with confusion. "But she is unarmed, untrained. A cargo handler, according to her records." "Yes," Vrick agreed, moving to stand on Nara's other side. "She had only a plasma wrench. The pirates had pulse rifles, combat armor, military-grade augmentations." He looked up at the doctor, and there was something ancient in those young eyes. "She fought them anyway." The security footage had been reviewed a dozen times by the ship's command staff. Nara Quinn, 17-year-old human apprentice mechanic, confronting 4 armed pirates in the cargo bay. She had seen the twin Velrock cubs cornered, had seen the weapons trained on them, and had done what any human would do in that situation. She had attacked. The wrench in her hands became a weapon of terrifying efficiency. She moved with a speed and ferocity that shocked even the battle-hardened pirates. She broke limbs, shattered armor plating, and when the wrench was finally shot from her grasp, she used her fists, her feet, her teeth. She fought with a desperation and fury that the pirates who raided for profit, not passion, could not match. By the time War Matriarch Kesran's security team arrived, 3 pirates were dead or dying, the 4th was fleeing, and Nara Quinn was standing over the cubs, her body a shield, even as she bled from a dozen wounds. Then the ship's reactor had exploded, and everything went to hell. "We do not understand," Solka said, her clawed hand pressing against the stasis field. "Why would she do this? We were strangers. Her species has no pact bond with ours. There was no honor debt, no contract, no obligation." Dr. Zelthar had wondered the same thing. He had studied human psychology for years, and still they confounded him. "Humans possess something they call protective instinct," he explained slowly. "When they perceive the young of any species in danger, their neurochemistry undergoes radical changes. Adrenaline floods their system. Pain receptors dull, Rational thought becomes secondary to a single imperative. Protect the child, even at the cost of their own life? Vrick asked. Especially then. The doctor confirmed. They cannot help it. It is coded into their very biology. A remnant from their evolution on their death world Earth. They are a species that adopted the young of other predators, that domesticated wolves and raised orphaned bear cubs. Their instinct to protect the helpless overrides even their sense of self-preservation. The twins were silent for a long moment, watching the steady rise and fall of Nara's chest beneath the regenerative field. Then we will stay, Vrick declared. Until she wakes. That could be days, weeks, even. Solka's gaze never left Nara's face. Then, we will stay for weeks. She stood watch over us. We will not abandon her. And so they did. Word spread through the ship quickly. The twin cubs of the war matriarch, the most dangerous juveniles in the known galaxy, had taken up guard duty in the medical bay. They allowed the medical staff to work, but no one entered without their permission. They slept in shifts, ate their meals beside Nara's bed, and growled warnings at anyone who approached too quickly. The crew learned to respect the vigil. On the 8th day, Nara's eyes finally opened. Her vision swam, her body ached with the phantom memory of trauma. But she was alive. The first thing she saw was 2 pairs of golden eyes watching her with an intensity that should have been frightening. You're awake, Vrick said, and there was unmistakable relief in his voice. The doctor said you would recover, Solka added, her tail swishing with agitation. But you took too long. Nara tried to speak, her throat dry. A small, clawed hand, surprisingly gentle, brought water to her lips. Why? Solka asked the question that had haunted her for 8 days. Why did you fight for us? You didn't know us. You could have run. Nara's lips curved into a weak smile. You were kids, she rasped, as if that explained everything. And perhaps, to a human, it did. The twins looked at each other. Some silent communication passing between them. Then, in unison, they placed their clawed hands over their hearts, the Velrock gesture of blood oath. You are Pack now, Vrick declared. Today and always. No harm will come to you while we draw breath. Our claws are your claws, Solka added, the formal words of the ancient Velrock bond. Our strength is your strength. Until the stars grow cold. Dr. Zelthar, observing from his station, made a note in his medical log. Human patient, Nara Quinn, has made full recovery. Side effect. Has somehow adopted 2 of the galaxy's most dangerous predators as permanent guardians. Recommend adding this to the human behavioral database under things only humans would do. Outside the medical bay, War Matriarch Kesron stood watching through the observation window, her massive form silhouetted against the stars. She had killed warlords and conquered territories. She had built an empire through strength and cunning. But watching her cubs pledge their lives to the small, fragile human who had saved them, she felt something she rarely experienced. Profound respect. Humans, she decided, were utterly insane, and the galaxy was better for it.